Look, at any point in your career, you need someone, to call you out.
Hello, and welcome to On Purpose. Today, I'm joined by Janet Truncale, the CEO of E&Y. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be great.
Well, let me start with, you have spent 30 years at E&Y, and I believe you began as an intern. So what was it like to be an intern, and did you aspire to be a CEO when you interned there?
Right, when you start as an intern in a big organization, I think you're really focused on your learning, your development, finding your way around and making a good impression. And that's absolutely what I was focused on. And then over the course of time, just had great opportunities to do different things, different experiences, and also at the time, balancing a family. I have 3 kids, and years ago that was a little bit harder to balance. And then I would say, not until the last 5 years, did I look at the needs of our organization and thought about my background and said, what, this could be a good fit if the opportunity arose. So not until recently.
Same for me. I wanted to be quarterback of the New York Jets, and that didn't work out for me. So
I got that.
So you used to lead 14,000 colleagues, which most of us would consider a very large company. I mean, about the size of Zoetis. But now you lead 400,000 colleagues. So did you have to change your leadership, or how did you evolve to be serving 400,000 people across the globe?
I'm very focused on the interpersonal connections with our people. For me, what's really important is building a great team around you that complements you, your backgrounds and your skills. And I think in taking on this bigger role, that has been a lot of what I've been focused on. Make sure that you have people that round you out, which is really important. So different backgrounds, different skill sets, and always make sure that you have a disruptor amongst you in the group that just thinks out of the box and challenges you. So when I think about the strategy and our priorities and our investments, they're all the same thing, but it's just got to be at scale.
So one of the things I've read about you is that you're a firm believer in having a village of truthtellers. So let's start with, what is a village of truthtellers, and why do we all need one?
Look, at any point in your career, you need someone, to call you out. And as you progress in an organization, I think it's hard. Sometimes people think that you just want folks that are going to agree with you, silently or overtly. And I've always been really focused on feedback from early on in my career. Like, tell me what I'm doing well, but tell me what I need to work on. And I don't think that many organizations do that well. And I think that for me, I'm very open with my team. Give me feedback. Give me feedback in the meeting. Give me feedback after the meeting. Give me feedback on a regular basis. So when they give you that feedback, you say thank you, and you listen and you adapt. And when you build your team, make sure that you have folks that are going to pull that out of the people around you and pull that out of yourself.
So what I loved your focus on is, that each of us need to continue to learn, because I would say we work in incredibly uncertain times. And just, things are evolving so quickly, and you have the benefit of working with so many different CEOs and so many different companies across industries. I wonder if you might share, what do you think leaders are doing well? And what do you think certain leaders can do a better job of these days?
Yeah, the best leaders, they're really focusing on, making sure that their people are upskilled and they're ready for the future, and recognize the difference in the generational shifts. If you look at our organization, over 70% of our people are under the age of 30. And so they tell us a lot about what the organization needs to do to change. And whether that's a focus on, well-being, which clearly is more of a focus today. And then in terms of adapting in this world of new technology, I think the democratization of expertise with the use of AI and other technology is really going to be a game changer, not only for our organizations, but for society at large.
So one of the things that people often remind me of is, Janet's the first woman CEO of a Big 4 firm. What does that make you feel like? I mean, I remember that when I became CEO 5 years ago, you're the first woman CEO of an animal health. What's your reaction when people say that to you?
So a couple years ago, when I took over for our America's Financial Services organization, I was the first woman. And I remember being on a webcast with many of our partners, and I really kind of downplayed that. And a lot of very strong women in my practice at the time said, you know what, Janet, we need you to embrace that. It's not about you, it's about us and the next generation, about seeing that it's possible. And so when the news came out about a year ago about my election, I remember the headlines really talked about first woman to lead a Big 4, and my first reaction is, oh, why does it say that? But again, I remembered I had those women's voices in my ear again. it's not about me, right? It's about making sure that the next generation, the young kids that are starting their careers, and then our daughters, frankly, to recognize that it is possible. And so for me, now I'm learning to embrace it, although it's a little bit uncomfortable for sure. But it's about the next generation.
So one of the things about being the first is it also means you're normally the only woman often in rooms. And I think one of the things that a lot of younger women struggle with as they're moving up in their career is like, how am I going to be the only woman? How am I going to come across?
And I think it's important to recognize that you're there for a reason, right? Whether it was 30 years ago or whether it's today, you have something to say. Your background and your expertise gives you a seat at the table, and you have to remind yourself that that's the case. It's also about bringing people along as well. So make sure that the next meeting, you're not the only one. Bring somebody along, sponsor, mentor others as well, just like we've had that for us.
Yes, especially when you're in your first time in anything. Thank you so much for joining me, Janet, and thank you for joining us on Purpose. We look forward to seeing you next time.